France can't do that. I'm almost stuck for words when I have to speak about the time we've spent together, because there's so much to say. So I had to make a number of choices. I'm just going to go very briefly through your thesis first. It is entitled Worlds of Difference, Displacement and Identity within Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's fiction. Difficult title, mainly because of the name of the author, but it offers this thesis offers an inspiring insight into and a revision of the tradition of post-colonial migrant writing. You're a reader, Rose, an amazing reader. You read and read. You spend your life reading. You even send me pictures of books you've bought. And you discovered these books by chance, I think. You were intrigued and very much seduced, as you said, and I'm picking up your words, by the novelty of what you were reading, and that was the trigger that led you to choose for her fiction as a topic for your master thesis. And I think this is a very good reason indeed. In your thesis, you enter into a form of dialogue with a renowned post-colonial critic, Elke Boomer, whose view of current post-colonial migrant writing you oppose, which is already something difficult to do. She claims that current post-colonial migrant writers are not committed writers, unlike their post-independence predecessors, that their writing makes light of political, social, human concerns. She defines their writing as weightless. You hated it. You said, it's not weightless, miss, it's not weightless. I'm trying to imitate you. You, of course, completely disagreed with this point of view, and in your thesis, you do manage to prove her wrong in a way, calling on the ideas of such thinkers, and I'm not going to give the whole list, as Frantz Fanon, Michel Wright, Judith Butler, Bell Hooks, Pierre Bourdieu, Paul Gilroy, Jane Bryce, Edouard Glissant, Deleuze and Guattari. In other words, you call on all those people who have written about identity, and you discovered them as you were reading. And that was quite an amazing process, and I really enjoyed going through that process with you, as you know. You conclude your very much, your very in-depth investigation of Adichie's fiction with a reflection on identity, showing how fiction offers a way into understanding difference and promises new directions for post-colonial migrant writing. You close your conclusion with an after-conclusion. This is typical of Rose. A number of suggestions for further research which I really secretly hope you might consider carrying after your teaching training course. As I said, your choice of subject was not so much dictated by a course you followed at our university or by a stay abroad, either in the States or in Nigeria for that matter. Rather, as became very clear right from our first meeting, it was governed by sheer intellectual curiosity, your passion for literature, your desire to understand, and your genuine interest in the other, namely Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and her fiction and her ideas. We even went together to Amsterdam to listen to her, and she was fascinated when she saw her book. You know, it was full of notes, and she said, "What did you do with it?" And she explained very bravely. She explained what she had found out and why she wanted to write about it. It was so nice to see. It soon became very obvious to me that your interest in this topic was not purely intellectual, but reflected a deeply caring and humane attitude that expressed itself so openly in each one of our meetings. I must say that coming across this kind of attitude is always invigorating for a supervisor, of course, but also comforting. In our academic world, we tend to keep ourselves busy with ideas, concepts, thinking processes, analytical tools, critical analysis. We track down changes, philosophical, ontological, and epistemological forms of evolution. So much so that we sometimes tend to forget or even overlook the fact that the materials we study are part of a design generated by a human desire and need to share and communicate. Clearly, it is this very need and desire that moved you, Rose. And this certainly tells a lot about the generous person you are, the caring student you've been, and the refreshing pieces you have written. It also partly explains the pleasure I had working with you. Another source of pleasure came from the critical standpoint you adopted, a daring one, as I mentioned earlier, which testifies to your very fine-tuned critical mind and courage. Your analysis, very precise and perceptive, and I think Hans Becker was the second assessor, will agree. We had a long talk about it. You laughed a lot, by the way. And you know that. They do justice, your analysis do justice to and show respect for the quality of Adici's prose, but they also translate your capacity as a researcher who should not shy away from the challenge of opposing a much acclaimed critic and theoretician in the field, okay, and that's very brave. Your project is therefore bold, all the more so since you have worked on recent material, Adici's first novel that came out in 2003. This has not been much written about yet, so this was new for you. This is always risky, very challenging, mainly because there's hardly any distance between you and the material, and you spoke a lot about this. And there's also not so much academic research to fall back onto, to assert your ideas and prove your point. If this choice has its advantages, in other words, in terms of reading load maybe, it does have its drawbacks too, since it deprives the inexperienced researcher of a kind of safety net, and we all need a safety net, even if we don't say it. Besides, you discovered the many theories you used to back up your point in your thesis as you were writing. Reading Deleuze and Guattari and Glissant is a challenge in itself, but applying their ideas to a text that you're discovering, and I think this is quite a feat what you did. You were working with something very new and very, very difficult theories. And in fact, it is mainly the conversations we had afterwards, maybe, that showed how well you understood these theories and what you could do with them, actually, because theories are not alive if they're not used. So this is again a call on you to maybe further your research. You took up the challenge with panache, I should say, proving your subtle reading of Adici's fiction and your courage in expressing and defending a very personal and original position through tough theoretical frameworks. All this calls for respect, as it shows both the necessary integrity that is part of the researcher's task and the importance of intuition in the research process. For all these reasons, Rose, and many others, such as, and I'm just going to give a small list, the way you do it, your reliability, your dedication, your enthusiasm and joie de vivre, I should say, your efficiency and authenticity, your sense of humor, all qualities which have made you shine since you started your studies here. I must say that I will keep very fond memories of you as a person, for sure, and of our meetings and very lively conversations. I met you in your first year, like many of you here. And I have had you as a student in a few of my literature courses over the years. And I have to admit that after our last meeting, I felt exactly like I usually do when I read the last page of a book I loved. I guess you know the feeling, don't you? I am very, very much honored to be the first one to congratulate you for your brilliant student career today, since I am not only praising you for your excellent master thesis, for which you scored an 8.5, but also for the very well-deserved cum laude compliment adopte le diplôme. La cerise sur le gâteau. Congratulations and good luck with everything.
Het diploma van Roos is extra mooi met rode letters in plaats van zwarte.
Roos, kan je handje even zeggen? Vannacht gefeliciteerd. Dat is een hele goede toekomst.
Nou, met deze feestelijke noot sluiten we deze zitting. Hartelijk dank voor uw aanwezigheid, voor uw aandacht. Zet de kandidaten de rest van de dag vooral verder in het zonnetje en in de bloemen en de cadeaus, wat niet al. Beneden is koffie en thee, dus ik wil u uitnodigen om niet hier in de zaal te blijven feliciteren en vragen, maar meteen door te gaan naar beneden en daar naartoe.